Starjumper, a roguelike sci-fi adventure game for mobile, most easily comparable to FTL Faster Than Light, the indie PC game of the same genre. Before I get into the gameplay and quality of the game, I'd like to put a small disclosure that when I found this game, I was seeing if there was an FTL mobile port available on the Google Play Store, in which Google Play directed me to Starjumper. And for those who are curious, there isn't an FTL mobile port on mobile currently. First up, the graphics. They are actually pretty good for what I assume is an indie developer. I say assume because when I tried to research DMD software, the listed developer, I could not find any information on them. The only lacking thing in the graphics department is movement of the ships in combat. Let's be real here, I don't think two spaceships fighting in zero gravity would just point at each other and fire until one blows up. This wouldn't have been an issue with me if they had implemented an invasion system to simulate movement. All they really had to do was put a stat somewhere saying I have a blank chance to evade, and that would have covered movement in combat, just well enough to make most people happy. Next up, sound design. This one's pretty easy. There's almost none. The only sound you'll hear playing Starjumper is the firing of weapons and of user interface feedback. In the practical sense, this makes the game easy to play with your own music or in a public area, but doesn't really do any favors considering the game is designed to be played for a longer period of time. In the artistic sense, there's no sound in space, which I get, and I'm sure maybe they had that in the back of their head, but considering the weapons still make sound, they didn't really deliver. I'll leave a short clip right here of just straight gameplay, just so you guys can actually see what the audio is like within the game. I'll make sure to test out as much as I can when it comes down to like the interface and see what buttons do what. So here you go. Speaking of weapons, in every combat situation you have two options to complete the battle. You can either blow them up with your weapons, which in my experience is super easy, or alternatively board the enemy ship and remove its crew. Weapon-to-weapon combat is simple. Press the button for each weapon to fire it after it's been charged, or tap on the enemy ship to fire all your charged weapons, each weapon doing its own specific type of damage. Though there is no clear information on what damage what weapon does, just from playing the game I have a general idea. Lasers seem to do shield damage when they're up, and hull damage when they're down. Plasma mostly does hull damage, but a bit of shield damage. Railguns do massive damage to the hull when there is no shield, but none when there is. And missiles bypass the shield going straight for the hull. Additionally, you can focus on certain areas of the ship, like the hull, engines, or shield, as well as divert your power to your own systems. Weapons, shield, engines. Your other option is to board the enemy vessel and take over using a teleporter. Though in my time playing the game, I couldn't manage to do it. No matter what I did in the crew upgrade screen, whether it be upgrading their offensive abilities or adding more to their ranks, my security team was unable to ever board and successfully defeat a ship. Speaking of the upgrade screens, there are 3 plus your cargo and your ship overlay. The first being the general upgrades that you pay to advance. Hull, shields, weapons, and engines. Each has its own stat, but as much as I could dig, I could not figure out what the stats for engine correlate to. I would guess evasion, but as I said before, I can't be sure. They're not very clear. Next is the system screen, where you can see what upgrade slots you have installed in your ship. These upgrades can be bought from traders or can be picked up from enemy ships after battle. They vary from damage upgrades to complete changes in how your health system works. An example, I found one system that increases my hull health by 2,000 points, but removes my shields, and another that increases my shields, but doesn't regenerate in battle like it normally would. The crew tab is where you can find your crew and what it specializes in, as well as upgrade their skills. Lastly Is there a story? As far as I'm aware, no. When I first loaded into the game, it really didn't tell me what to do except for a tip that popped up on screen, was partially cut off, and covered in a picture that was part of it. You just jump from star to star, managing your fuel along the way, and visit the planets in each system until either you complete everything, which is basically the same events over and over, or reach the center of the galaxy. An example, I got an event where my crew asked me to have the chef cook potatoes better. I got this event 5 times throughout my playthrough of the game. In overview, its simple controls and wide map make this game a decent time waster, but its lack of content and repeating dialogue make it one to easily uninstall when you need storage space. I give it a 3 out of 5 baked potatoes.